Gone live.
Just have to wait for that.
Okay, I just got an email from Jewel. He's going to be on momentarily.
Yeah, I'm on.
Very good, thank you.
Are we good to go?
Yes, sir.
All right. I will call the City of Westfield, Indiana Board of Public Works and Safety meeting to order for February 24th, 2021. Will the staff please call the roll and note the presence of quorum?
Mayor Cook. Randy Graham.
Present.
Jim Ake.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Thank you. Moving on to action item number 1, the consideration of approval of the minutes of January 27, 2021. Having had opportunity to review those minutes, are there any additions, corrections, or comments?
I have none.
Hearing none, Randall Graham will make a motion to approve the minutes of January 27, 2021.
I will second. Jim Ake.
Motion made by Randall Graham, seconded by Jim Ake to approve action item number 1, the approval of the minutes of January 27, 2021 as written. Will the staff please call the roll?
Jim Ake.
Yes.
Randy Graham.
Yes.
Motion carries 2-0.
Thank you. On down to action item number 2. GAI Consultants in City of Westfield, 171st and Cary REB Supplement number 1. Documents GAI Supplement number 1.
Yeah, so this is one of the good supplement requests that doesn't happen all the time, but it's one that we're actually saving money on. So in the original contract with GAI, they had some money in there for right-of-way acquisition if needed for the project. That is not needed after going through the design process. As a result, they're going to remove that from their scope and give the money back. But we're also going to we added in some lighting design so that we can actually have lighting on this roundabout. The net result of this supplemental is a savings to the city of $4,960. And the reason for the supplemental is just to make sure we're documenting the scope change from a legal perspective. So I would ask that you approve this supplemental. And again, it's a savings of just under $5,000 for the city. One more thing to note. I had a call with the consultant yesterday to review the final plans. They're in really good shape. We're going to advertise for bids in mid-March, open bids in mid-April, and we'll be constructing this thing starting in early to mid-June when school's out and all that good stuff. So overall, really good project so far. The consultant's done a nice job and excited to get this thing built.
Good to hear good news. Are there any questions or comments?
None.
You okay with legal?
No, this is just a supplement and over a first contract. So we don't have to worry about the additional language because it's still controlled under that original contract. So legal's good.
All right, I tend to move rather quick, so don't let me run over and forget you. I apologize. I remembered that time. So there's no further discussion. Then Randall Graham will make a motion to approve action item number 2. GI Consultant City Westfield 171st and Cary RIB Supplement number 1.
I'll second. Jim Ake.
A motion made by Randall Graham, seconded by Jim Ake to approve action item number 2 as written. Staff, please call the roll.
Jim Ake.
Yes.
Randy Graham.
Yes.
Motion carries 2-0.
Thank you. Action item number 3, Station 81 Relocation Project Technical Review Committee members. Station 81 Relocation Project advisors to the Technical Review Committee.
Yeah, this is Chief Reed. So in order to be in compliance with Indiana Code 5-30-4, we're required to form a technical review committee. And then we also, I don't know if that document opened up or not, but basically there's 5 members to it, 2 from fire and then a couple from, there we are. So that's how those break down. And those are the folks that we'd just like to have you approve this today. And then we're in the process of gathering the group together next week to begin to head down this path. So I don't know if you guys have any questions with that.
Any questions or comments?
No, sir.
If there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
I move, excuse me. I move to approve action item number 4, sign work. Whoa. We're on action item number 3, Station 80 relocation project. Technical review committee members, I move to approve those, as well as Station 81 relocation project advisors to the technical review committee as stated. Jim Ake.
Thank you. We have a motion made by Randall Graham, seconded by Jim Ake to approve action item number 3 as written. Staff, please call the roll.
Did Jim make the motion and you second, or vice versa? I'm sorry.
Jim Ake made the motion and Randall Graham seconded.
Okay, thank you. Randy Graham,
Yes.
Jim Ake,
Yes.
motion carries 2-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On to action item number 4. Sign Works in City of Westfield biannual review and inspection, Totem Bridge Gateway.
So as you guys are most likely aware of our infamous gateway sign down at 146 and 31. Signworks was the designer, engineer, and constructor of that sign. We have requested that to enter an agreement where they will do a biannual inspection of the structure itself, but also the mechanicals and lighting inside, as well as any other electrical things. And the illuminated panels, just to ensure that we are staying ahead of maintenance and being proactive to ensure that we don't have major failures down there. So it's a 1-year contract, $3,750, which I would see us doing for probably in perpetuity, but at least on an annual basis for the next several years. But we'll bring the additional agreements back to you at the time.
And this is Jewel. I've had a chance to look at this. We've created a document that we're sending back to Signworks that's going to incorporate all this language, have this as an exhibit. So you are perfectly fine moving forward with accepting the quote if the board so desires, and then we can finalize signatures on the actual contract itself. One thing for the board to consider is when you look at items like this that are $3,750, there are provisions in which you can adopt rules which set up small purchasing guidelines. So those are purchases under $25,000 pursuant to statute. So instead of coming back to the board every single time there's a small purchase that needs to be made, there are ways that we can put provisions in there which allows both either Jeremy or Jonathan to move forward to get things done without burning the board. So if the board so chooses, we can put that together just kind of as an outline so you can see what it looks like because you guys get to make up those rules.
But that would not be a part of this motion. That would be something that we would just request moving forward.
Correct. I rambled on there and I apologize. This is just the acceptance of the quote, but what I was talking about for small projects like this, we can set up things to make it a little bit easier on you.
I would like to see that proposal.
And I would too as well, Jim Ake.
Okay.
We'll get that turned around and emailed out to you.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on action item number 4 itself?
No, sir.
All right, hearing no discussion, Randall Graham will make a motion to approve action item number 4, Signworks City Westfield biannual review and inspection review, Totem and Bridge, with legal facilitating the final sign off the contract.
I'll second.
Motion made by Randall Graham and seconded by Jim Ake to approve action item number 4 as my stated motion. Will the staff please call the roll?
Randy Graham,
Yes.
Jim Ake,
Yes.
motion carries 2-0.
Thank you. On to action item number 5. Encroachment application Duke Energy along Oak Road from 161st Street to Maple Ridge Road.
Yes, this is Essex, utility coordinator for the Public Works Department. This is just a continuation of Duke's ongoing citywide capacity upgrade project. This would be a 3-phase upgrade, single phase to 3-phase power upgrade along Oak Road, beginning, as you stated, at 161st Street. Duke is proposing upgrading aerial facilities. We did propose underground. Westfield counter proposed. Duke cites insulation of underground as being too costly and is proposing aerial. Proposal includes the installation of 21 3-phase poles at the back of the existing city right-of-way. 14 of the 21 poles are existing, and 7 of the new poles would be new additions to the right-of-way. Existing single-phase poles are approximately 40 feet tall, while the new 3-phase poles would be 55 feet in height. And there's one area at the south end near Maple Ridge subdivision where 4 poles would be not exactly at the back of the right-of-way, but about 15 feet off the road, where the existing poles are only about 5.5 feet.
So is this something that the existing poles that are 5.5 feet off, is this something that typically in a project like this that Duke would actually move them to the back of the right-of-way while they were doing the project? Or, man, no, that's not what they're requesting. I'm asking.
Yeah, so there is some existing 3-phase that extends south from 151st and northward to the Maple Ridge entrance. And we did request on the 4 poles that wouldn't exactly be at the back of the available right-of-way there in front of Maple Ridge. We requested that Duke move them back there, but they explained due to it being a dead-end line, they need to offset and come a little bit toward the road, but we still would be gaining approximately 10 feet from where the existing poles are. And I think I'll let John Nail elaborate on any concerns that he may have from a safety standpoint.
Yeah, I would add, I mean, I think ideally these 4 poles kind of near the Maple Ridge subdivision would get moved further away from the road to the back of right-of-way. Duke had some concerns, I know, about some tree clearing and some just, I guess, electrical engineering related items, that this location 15 feet off the roadway was a better solution from their perspective. I don't have a strong opinion either way. I do think they've done a pretty good job over the last 5 to 6 months in moving poles back to the right of way. They're not, for 4 of these, they are not doing that in this situation for some other constraints. From a roadside safety perspective, 15 feet is a heck of a lot better than 5. And given that Oak Road is a relatively low speed road, it's probably it's certainly better than what's out there today. And I think the roadside safety threat is relatively low still, with it being 15 feet off the edge of pavement in this location. So it's a rambly way of saying it's not all the way to the back of right of way, which would be the ideal spot, but there are some other constraints in play in this particular situation.
Yeah, my question actually was about the ones that are still 5 feet off. Are they able to move those further away from the road so they're not just 5 feet off the road while they're doing the project? Those questions.
Yeah, those will be removed, Randy. The ones that are 5 feet off.
Okay. Okay.
And where the other ones that are still relatively close to the roadway, it's just due to not having existing right-of-way available to move them back further.
Okay.
I would
just
also
want to
like
make sure whenever they're doing these projects that we ask the questions, we do what we need to do for, public safety, and that, this is the time to get it taken care of. So that's why I asked the question.
Yep. Understood.
Duke does recognize there are a few poles, maybe 2 to 3, I'm guessing, that will be near the 161st Street intersection that they're very likely going to be moving within the next year as we move forward with our roundabout at that intersection. But that is, I guess, their choice. But they are cite that the need for the upgrading capacity is pretty critical at this point.
Okay. Mr. Ake, questions, comments?
No, that was my concern, that if they have to move them in the future, why couldn't we do it now? But I think it was explained that for technical reasons and future construction, that's not real feasible at this time. So I'm fine.
And it's important to note too that we're not going to be charged in the future when we do the 161st and Oak roundabout. We're not being charged for that relocation. Duke will have to do that at their own cost.
Very good. Thank you.
No further questions or comments. I'll entertain a motion.
And to approve action item number 5, encroachment application, Duke Energy along Oak Road from 161st Street to Maple Ridge Road. Jim Ake.
Randall Graham will second that. Have a motion made by Jim Ake, seconded by Randall Graham to approve action item number 5, encroachment application Duke Energy along Oak Road from 161st Street to Maple Ridge Road. Staff, please call the roll.
Jim Ake,
Yes.
Randy Graham,
Yes.
motion carries 2-0.
Thank you. A lot of items on the consent agenda, one of which requires some explanation actually from Chief Rush, and I expect he wants to comment on the one before that. So, Chief Rush.
Yeah, how's everybody doing? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you.
So on the agenda, it looks like the conflict of interest is first, so I'll go with that one. Basically, we have a K-9 officer, Dewey Abney, who basically we use for our K-9 training a place called Ultimate K-9. It's a facility here in Hamilton County. The owner is Julie Case. Dewey's wife, Carissa, actually works for that company. And because there is a little bit of money exchange, very, very small amount, for the use of that facility and their expertise, we felt it best to come to you for disclosure on that. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, my mic was off. I was saying that I'm comfortable with it because if it was not ready to go, it would not have made the consent agenda. But I do appreciate the explanation. Mr. Ake, did you have any questions or comments?
No, sir. No, sir. Given the small amount of money, I don't have a problem.
Okay. I would think legal is good with everything on the consent agenda. There again, if it were not ready to move forward, it would not be on the consent agenda. So.
Correct.
Okay.
Right, now, as far as the actual signed copy, Kimberly, do I give that to you then?
Yes,
Or-
after everything's signed, I
Okay.
can take the record. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next one is approval to promote 4 of our officers. This is off of our 2020 eligibility list. As you know, we're growing and we're still laying our foundations. And we felt there was a need to add a sergeant to each shift. And we started that. We're doing it in phases. You already approved the first phase, which was putting 2 sergeants on late shift. So now we have a lieutenant and 2 sergeants for each shift on lates. And we're doing the same for days now with Devin Cornwell and Mike Wheeler. Charles Nichols and Song Kang will be promoted to the rank of sergeant. Chuck Nichols, as you know, replaced the fleet manager, Bob Rushforth, as he retired. And then Song Kang, that position was a creative position, and we felt that it was deserving of the rank of sergeant due to the responsibilities. So that's the direction we're moving. These folks were on the eligibility list and they're next up. So we're just seeking approval for them.
I'm good. Mr. Ake?
Yes, sir. I am too.
Okay. Very good, Chief.
Thank you. The next one is approval to actually give 2 conditional offers. The third we're going to hold off on. To back up a little bit, so we're setting at 61 officers right now. As you know, in 20 we were approved to hire 10. With the retirement of several officers and then a couple officers left, we're still trying to play catch up with that. So at the end of 21, we'll be at 66 officers, which means we're needing to hire 5 officers. And these 2 will be the first 2 of those 5. The first one is named Sterling Woods. Sterling is actually a police officer in Bloomington. He's already academy trained, and he's a graduate of IU Northwest. He's originally from Maryville, Indiana. The next one is Stefan Kleichik. And Stefan is originally from Chicago, Illinois, and he's currently a police officer in Valparaiso, Indiana. So they've been vetted out by our recruitment team. They've already had chief's interviews, and they've both passed background investigations, and they were both given a conditional offer, with one of those things being the approval of this board.
Okay. Mr. Ake, any discussion?
No, I thank you, Chief, for all you do in vetting these people, and I don't have any questions for you at this time.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. If there's no further discussion, Randall Graham will make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
I'll second, Jim Ake.
Have a motion made by Randall Graham, seconded by Jim Ake to approve the consent agenda. Will the staff please call the roll?
Jim Ake,
Yes.
Randy Graham,
Yes.
motion carries 2-0.
Brings us down to department reports.
I was going to ask the group, our report is really, it's an end of the year report.
Okay.
And I know Mayor Cook has a significant interest in those kinds of numbers. I'm just kind of wondering if we want to wait. We can do this next month. The numbers aren't going to change. But that's something that he has a lot of interest in. And so my thought was, I didn't realize he wasn't going to be here today. So my thought is to push it back a month, and then we can just do it next month.
I'm good with that, Mr. Ake. You have any objection to that?
No, there's no reason not to wait till the mayor can be present.
Okay, thank you, Chief Reed. Chief Rush?
Just real quickly, our monthly report, if you've had a chance to look at it, actually has changed. We've changed our reporting system. We went from a UCR reporting system to a NIBRS. It's the National Incident-Based Reporting System. So the NIBRS system actually replaces UCR. It's those reports that we have to collect the data on crimes and submit to the FBI for along with everyone else in the nation. So what that does basically for us is it goes from a UCR where they looked at really just 8 categories of crime, and the NIBRS is much more detailed. It examines 24 crime categories made up of 52 specific crimes. So it's a lot more in depth. It looks at victim and known offenders, and it looks at the relationship between victims and the suspects, that type of thing. So it's really in depth, and it takes our people a long time, quite frankly, to gather that information each month. But that is submitted. So what we thought would be best is we parallel your report to that, and you can see the first couple pages. It's a lot more in depth, and it's a really good you get a good feel for what kind of crimes we're seeing each month. And that's the one we're going to keep sharing with you each month. Like Chief Reed, I'll probably come to you next month with the 2020 yearbook, which has all the data from our last year. So with that, that's all I've got.
Hey, Chief Jim Egg. So does this change any of your, how you run your department or policing tactics that you're using by having this broader categories? Is there an advantage to your department?
Not really, to be frank. It's easier for us to share what we're doing with others, which is nice. But it really isn't changing the way we police or anything, no.
Okay. And the reason for the change basically was?
Basically, it was basically really the rule through the FBI is we had to change from the UCR to the NIBRs. I mean, it was a legal thing.
All right, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chief Rush. Public Works.
Yeah, thank you. Basically, since our last meeting, we've mostly been dealing with winter weather, which is gone exceptionally well. The guys and gal now have done a pretty exceptional job, certainly with the last big heavy event, and pretty proud of the efforts that they put forward there. Grand Junction's still rolling along. We are having an open house. We were going to have it in February if we had some good weather. That did not happen. So we're still looking at potentially next week, and we will make sure that you all are aware and invited to that. Once the snow melts, we'll then be contending with mud. So whether or not we get out in the park and interact with some of that construction is yet to be seen, but we're working hard. Vicki and her team are working to get that thing set up. Other than that, we're just gearing up for construction season. John was telling you about the 171st and Cary Roundabout. I think we've talked a little bit about it before, but we're pretty excited about that one. It's a different concept than what we've done before, with some open drainage and some other things, which is will end up being a fraction of the cost of what we spend on roundabout construction. So it could be a great template for what we do in some of our more rural areas as we continue to develop out west and north of 32. And then from a parks perspective, we are in the process of constructing our splash pad that you all approved here late last year. They're working on it all the time. Obviously, they had a little delay. Pretty hard to pour concrete with a foot of snow on it. So that's rolling on. We're still planning on opening that up before Memorial Day. And otherwise, everything's going real well and ready for spring. Any questions?
Sounds good. Mr. Ake, you have anything?
No, I just want to commend you on the massive job you did when the snowstorm came in, and I appreciate everything that everybody did in your crew. So please thank them on my behalf.
Will do.
All right. If there is no further discussion, Randall Graham will make a motion to adjourn.
And Jim Ake will second that motion.
A motion made by Randall Graham, seconded by Jim Ake, to adjourn today's meeting. Staff, please call the roll.
Randy Graham,
Yes.
Jim Ake,
Yes.
motion carries 2-0.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.